Little technical difficulty. What's going on, guys? Can you hear me? I've got some I'm trying to do headphones tonight instead of speakers to try to get it to be not as echoey. So y'all let me know if you can hear me. Double D10 channel member, what is up, buddy? Gons is here. Angelo is here. The channel member, what is up? Brother Chris is here, channel member. Y'all stick over at Rob's till it's over. I know he's doing a drawing. Um, Five Door, what is up, brother? You like that bass line? I thought that was pretty slick. Five Door's a channel member. Thank you, buddy. And we got Jim Miller, who's a channel member. I think you guys can hear me. Good, 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 good. Stephen Clayton Jr., what is up? Should be low key tonight. I was hoping Pocket Metal was going to be able to do it tonight. He's still busy, got stuff going on. So I figured I'd hold the fort down for a little while and we would hang out and see what everybody did this weekend. Joseph S., what is going on, my man? Who else is in here? We had some people in here early. Let's see. Space Ghost. What's up? Howdy, Kathleen. Good to see you both. Let's see. Dr. Drew, dude, I've got to get better at reading comments. I knew what I was going to do. I got to put on my glasses, for one. Ground fog. What is up, my man? Good to see you, buddy. And Greg Vanderlip was in early, reminding everybody to hit the like button to help us out. I do appreciate that. I'm doing something weird tonight, and I'm curious because I'm streaming on Twitter, allegedly. I set StreamYard up. All right, let's close that. So yeah, I set StreamYard up and it was having a hard time connecting. So I don't know what the deal is there, and I don't know how and where live streams show up in Twitter. So look, let's see what it looks like. Yep, we are also, guys, just so you know, let me share the screen. Not that anybody cares. We're live on Twitter with nobody watching. But I figure there's some people over there. I know there's some nice people over there. And it's no different for me to stream here. I can stream to Instagram at the same time. And I can send the stream to YouTube. There are a couple of other places. Let's see. Just my Instagram. I can send it to Pocket Metal's page too, because he and I share an account. I let him on my account to hang out, and I don't know if it would actually stream to Instagram. Let's see what happens if I click that. Most users, Instagram will disconnect your stream after 1 hour. Head to Instagram, create live, blah 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 blah. I'm not going to do that. All right, let's take that out. So yeah, that's just kind of one of those weird deals. What's up, man? I've never used Twitter, guys. I'll tell you how I used to use Twitter. I logged into a lot of like search engine optimization, digital marketing sites, a lot of publications that I read on the daily, and then other news sites. And the news sites started to get depressing. So what I do is I would just use it kind of as my news feed. So as long as I was curating, what would you say, reliable sources, I would be getting good news, right? And it usually breaks there first. Twitter's more of a cesspool of people that get into, there's a lot of toxicity over there and there's a good to that, because I think everybody can say free speech is either good or bad, but that's one of Elon Musk's alleged purposes for going super heavy and buying Twitter for much more than it's worth. So people can say anything over there. What's up, brother Paul Mills? Did you see me say hello late over at Rob's Nerdy Knives? I was on my mobile phone only, sitting over here trying to change some things around. And I'm curious, let's try an experiment, because this is one of the reasons I wanted to try to, so you can hear my voice change when I do my Cole voice, right?
If I do my cold voice, does it sound like it?
But I want to see if you can hear my grenade go off. So the question is, did any of y'all hear the explosion? Yeah, Palmer, definitely you'll see you might see Mirsal, what is up? You might see some weird people, but I don't know if Twitter people can post here. Kathleen, you heard the explosion? Maybe I've solved tell me if you can hear my cat meow. Where's my cat? Where's my cat? I don't see my cat. That's a little discerning. Let's see. There it is. I'm always good for people getting put in timeout first. If they're in here and you can tell they're just trolling, I think, hey, Scott Bruce 72, what's up? I think it's always good to welcome people that are different than us in because you never know if they saw something that made them think, oh, knives, or they're here. Somebody had mentioned over in the text on Rob's Dirty Knives that there'd be a giveaway, and I never ever one of the things I did a video a long time ago about why I don't I'll just share it in the link because a lot of people might not know if they're new to the channel why I don't publicize milestone giveaways and don't post giveaways in my live stream thumbnails. It's not that I don't do giveaways. It's not that I don't do giveaways almost every Friday night and do also random giveaways, but I just don't publicize it because I don't want to draw an audience that's here for giveaways. And I'm probably doing that wrong. But it's just something when I was a person in the chat watching, consuming content, consuming live streams long before I ever thought about doing a channel. And then during Knives Live, when we organized that, I had to set up my channel again, which has been around for like 12 years because I had it set up to do a couple of school projects for my daughter, who's now 23. But I started posting shorts. So I didn't do my first spoken video almost 2 years ago, I think. I'd have to go back and look. But the bottom line is one of the things I didn't want to do was I feel and there's nothing wrong with it. I don't want to think any Jeffrey Dawson, what is up, buddy? Thomas McDonald's channel member, how are you, bud? I probably miss some other people like Mimo. I get off on rants, guys, and I can't rub my stomach and pat my head at the same time. But I always thought that, I want to bring, and I think a lot of saying you're giving stuff away, you're bringing in some new people to the community. But I look at it as taking a chance away from somebody who's here all the time. Chris, what's going on? There, Pepperhorst. There, well, hold on. I'm trying to say, where are you? There art thou? That's wrong. And you might not even be Alf Deutsch. I am my mother's side is all German, and I took German in high school and can only remember stuff like Ich spreche ein bisschen Deutsch. Ein bisschen, which means I speak only a little Deutsch. And I know how to go ein Bier. But yeah, it's I don't know if y'all saw somebody was saying hey to bushcraft, which made me think about what I've been working on. And I never ever get into hardcore carving, and I'll tell you who is kind of the catalyst, and I'm not good at it, but this is a weed that grew in my yard that's harder. I used to work in a wood shop. I was a marketing manager. This stuff's harder than hard maple. I mean, that shit is like rock. But I'm trying to do the stick carving test on it. And I worked this like probably 2 hours Saturday because I had to cut it down first. Hey, she was I can tell you exactly what she was doing. My grandfather, and if y'all want to Google, you can go and Google Dr. Hans, Hans, F as in Frederick, Grune, Gruene. And you will learn that he was the director of launch for NASA, and he came over with Dr. von Braun. But where he was in the 40s was designing, building V2 rockets and raining them down on Britain. So I had a 50% chance of being Russian, but there, if you Google him, you'll see him and von Braun. They came over on the same boat. The house I live in Huntsville, or my mom still lives in, which is across about a mile from where I live. Dr. von Braun, when they first came from White Sands, Texas, as part of Operation Paperclip, he lived up by my mom. They were the first to settle in that little neighborhood. It was called Kraut Hill. But yeah, there's and he and I talked about that. He passed away when I was 10, so I didn't get to get into the depths of it, but it's basically like if you were an engineer or somebody who was studious, right? And you were trying to be whatever you were trying to be, you worked for the government, right? You didn't have private opportunities as much. So I don't know how much of it was politics and how much of it was just staying alive. But he did make it over here and had a good run. Retired, I think, in 1978, something like that. Right before the space shuttle started being talked about, because he used to have drawings in his office of a fucking space shuttle. So it looked just like the space shuttle, but it was like 10 years before the space shuttle. It is. It is still, it's more a museum now because my grandfather, Dr. Von Braun, and all them moved down to Cape Canaveral to Florida. So they still do a lot of rocket research here. It's turned into a big defense contractor place. So they do a lot of missiles, shit that, is blowing off all over the world right now. And I learned something interesting, and I shouldn't even really talk about it, but when we passed these huge defense bills that the TikTok bill was rolled up in. Oh, Rob's lives flooded with bots. See, I haven't had a bot, knock on wood, in forever, but I don't advertise. If you look at my thumbnails, I don't put them up. No, my grandfather was Hans F. Grune, Grune. And if you Google Dr. Hans F. Grune, he and von Braun worked together. They were like cohorts, and they came over as part of Operation Paperclip together. So during the war, unfortunately, if you were on Europe's side, I guess fortunately, if you were on Germany's side, they were the ones that had developed the V2 rocket where they were able to shoot not interballistic, but rockets from Germany to Europe, right? So it was their like reign of terror, like we did when we dropped bombs over there. So my mom's chimney did get bombed off by Americans or blew off, but they came over kind of in a covert on a ship and came through Ellis Island. She was 4 years old. She remembers that story, talks about it a lot. And they've got pictures from an old scrapbook of them at White Sands. Yeah, it is wild. And what really freaks me out is that he didn't, and it's not his fault because he passed away at 61, but that I didn't get to have an adult conversation with him to ask him about the moon landing, Tell me Palmer, did you Google it? I don't, I just know they talk about a lot of those Germans had a scar on their face and they say that it was some kind of Nazi ritual. But my grandfather told me when I was a kid, because he had a sword and he had a scar on his face. And he said that when it was kind of like a fraternity thing that they did in college, kind of like hazing. They would, instead of boxing, they would sit there and they would sword fight with each other with these long, it wasn't like a sword like you and I see knife making. It was more of one of those long, pointy, piercy things. And their whole thing was to try to draw blood on the other one's face. That's exactly right, Palmer. He said it was a hazing thing. So, and he was the kindest. I mean, all those German people that I knew, because I knew a lot of them, they'd have these New Year's Eve or New Year's Day parties. And one thing about the rocket scientists that I learned is they worked hard and they played very hard. So they would get absolutely wasted on New Year's Day. So I would be a 9, 8-year-old kid down in Florida because we'd go down to Cocoa Beach, which is right outside of Cape Canaveral, my mom, my little brother, and I. And what's up, Craig? And we'd hang out there for the summer. And then after Christmas, we'd go down because my mom would help them give their New Year's Day party. Well, the New Year's Day party would start real frou-frou with food laid out around the pool and the patio all done nice and stuff like that. And by like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, it would start like at 10 o'clock in the morning. And this is after everybody, and they were in their 60s, stayed up till, and older, because there were older people there too, and stay up till at least midnight. And then they'd come over in the morning, they start drinking Bloody Marys. And by the afternoon, they're shooting Ouzo and breaking plates out around the pool. I mean, it got to be when I'd be a little kid, kind of scared walking around because you never know which old German was going to go nuts on, his spouse or on one of his science colleagues. But it was good stuff. A rich history. And I didn't know till I grew up either all the things that they, as a culture, added to the fabric of Huntsville, Alabama. He is absolutely. He's buried right next to my grandmother. Yeah, he passed away in Cocoa Beach, Florida, doing what he loved to do, which was cutting the grass. He had a real small, clean little yard, and he had uh, saltwater canals on two sides. So they lived in a cul-de-sac. And if you've ever been down to that part of Florida off the beach, he was about 5 blocks west of the beach and of the Atlantic, and there were canal systems. So they would have manatees and porpoise and shit swimming around out there. It was kind of nasty, but it was a cool childhood. I mean, I had some really cool memories, and I got to see rockets go up and shit. And he'd tell me the stories of when they failed. That was one of the lessons I learned from him. Is my grandma's name was Edith Gruna. She absolutely was. And my mom's name is Karen, if she's mentioned in there, their daughter. They had a daughter and a son. But yeah, he was and there's some stuff in there cuz I've done a little research on it. Most of it seems pretty accurate, but some of it my mom couldn't verify. Like some of the areas that they were supposed to have been in the US. Cuz my understanding is they were only in White Sands. Then they were moved to Huntsville, all of them together, where they were doing research for a short time. And then with Kennedy, after he came to Huntsville and met with them, they all went to Cape Canaveral. So it's kind of a weird, quiet thing. I don't think the news is all that accurate because it was kind of a hush hush thing. But I want to know if, because I don't know if he could have kept a secret of if the moon landing for some reason was fake. I mean, because I can remember him being so bummed out when they had that accident on the pad and all those astronauts were lost during an Apollo. I think it was an Apollo mission that never made it off the ground. Um, and so my grandmother, my Oma, who is just a sweet old lady, she never worked, but she worked hard probably in Germany as a housewife, but she was that kind of lady. And she would talk about how Opa, my grandfather, would be so distraught for months leading up to every launch because they always thought that there was something they didn't think about. And you hear on these documentaries how their computer systems were less sophisticated than an iPhone, how they do it. And Joe Isabella's been a member for 13 months. Joe, thank you so much, brother. This killer artwork that I don't know if is in screen here, my little bee up, and my little I have him on that side, my little slime stump guy. I have him on that side because it picks up my black light, but it has bee up with a little arrow down here in the corner. And I've got another little bee up token. I think he sent those to me to give away, but I loved all of them so much that I had to hang on them. Oh, I'll pull that up. Let me see if I can pull it up. I have to open my. Yeah. open this here and go to YouTube and try to find my chat. Yeah, I'm not. What's funny is my professional life is doing digital marketing, which is helping things like my channel or my live stream be discovered by as many people possible if you are a company that wanted that to happen. However, I do it because I like it and it gets me away from work. So I don't do the things. I'm pretty invisible. I can't even find my live. Like right now, I'm trying to find it to get the pop out chat so I can click on that link. And I don't show up. Like I think if you put other things in your title that make it sound more exciting. So here is, let's see if that's really him, because sometimes they'll mislabel him. I'll find him for you. Go here. No, he's not in this picture. Let's see, maybe he's down here. There he is. He's in this one with Dr. Von Braun. Where is it? Yeah, right there. Hans Grun is my opa. And then there's Von Braun, and that's Dr. Debus. He was one of our Cocoa Beach friends. He was more of a PR guy. And a lot of these guys are IBM guys. But there's and that's the place in either Cape Canaveral or in Houston, because they shoot them up in Cape Canaveral and they would bring them back to Houston. Let me see something. Good images. Because there's some pictures of him from the other side before he came here. And again, he was the same small, smiling dude. That's not him. That's him right before he retired, right there. That's one of their early rockets. I was trying to find the one with him and Von Braun in the V2. Let's do this. There's a picture of him standing next to a rocket that's getting ready to pop off. I spelled it wrong. And maybe they scrubbed that. This is in Huntsville, I think. No, that's Cape Canaveral where they rock about. It was a crazy deal. I mean, you think about it, and the naysayers, which I don't know what to believe. I just think he would have told me if it was something fishy, because I don't see how he could keep it secret. But he could talk that shit. And what's funny, my little brother is 5 years younger than me. I was an English psychology guy. I was a social butterfly. I never focused on school. Well, my little brother did. He never made a B in his entire life. So he made A's from kindergarten through graduating at Duke. David Jewell, thank you, buddy. True story. Yeah, it's my channel's a little different. It's a different vibe. We can switch to knives anytime. What's weird for me is I haven't been buying a lot of knives lately. I've had some cool stuff come in. This is what I carved that stick with. I've been testing this knife. This is the TRM Redline fixed blade, 20 CV, full sized handful of a camp knife, field knife. I think it's just more of a EDC on the bigger side knife. It's a 5-inch blade, I think. But for a TRM, it's got very thick blade stock, but it's super slicey. So this is what I've been working my carving stick like a rib with. I've been scooping with it on the corners, I've been chopping with it to get some of those places started. I would chop it and then feather it down. But I was Don's. I was like I graduated college with like a 2.3. I was a low C. Could have easily failed, but I was a kiss ass, and I got to make up a lot of uh a lot of tests and stuff because I'd come in with a sob story when I'd been on mushrooms the day before, and led into the day of my test, and I was in no position to take the test, so I'd go in and say some sob story, and usually I would get a chance to do it again, right? But I still sucked. I was one of those Palmer's bringing me up to speed, stuff I didn't know. Yeah, they were, I don't that doesn't make me a instant believer, but I was always under the assumption that we tried to go to the moon, we went to the moon, and then everything's come out like it'd be hard for us to do now, stuff like that. So I listened to all that. I don't know if necessarily knowing how weird everything is in the world, that if there was a higher uh control group that was orchestrating something like that, if the actual players who were facilitating the mission would even know that it was not a real mission. Ed, what is up, my buddy? It's good to see you guys here. I did break out an oldie but a goodie, and that's what I'm trying to find, and it's actually been good for me not to get a lot of new knives as I'm rediscovering knives I picked up. This one on the secondary from my buddy A to Z EDC. This is a Hinderer Jurassic, which is a little bit smaller than the XM18, but a full-size knife in thickness. It's one that you never see. It's not that available. It's got a real late, what do you call it when the detent ball's late? So when you go to drop it, you wish it would break right there, but you've got to get it past. This detent ball is right here. Is that called late lockup? I don't know what the term is for that. But this guy pops to right there. And then when you get it past the detent ball, it drops like a champ. That is a Hinderer Jurassic. I really enjoyed carrying it. For me, for my hand, which I've noticed Bees does this and it seems to help. I'm 3.5 inches across the palm. So for me, it fits my hand really well. But that being said, I did a little experiment on the what's up, Crazy Roach? Cole, what is up? I did an experiment on the Redline fixed blade because this handle to me is perfection. It's got a little swell right here. I don't know if you can see that swell. And then this tail is thin, but it kicks up at the end. And so your hand, when you just put your hand on it, it grabs it right there. I mean, there's no denying, and it's not forcing my grip, but that little protrusion or that little swell catches in between my two fingers. It doesn't push them apart. It gives me a steady grip. So I took it over to my buddy, A to Z EDC. Jim Miller, I think, met him at Blade Show. He's the guy that I go to Blade Show with. And he's a big guy. He's like 3 times my size. And he's got more sausage hands than me, bigger hands. And he really wants this knife. He thought it was extremely comfortable too. And I used it not for 48 hours, but I did use it for a good 2 to 4 hours working on that stick, cutting down that stick, and then carving through that stick because it's so hard. And this knife, which is thick, as you can see, is still amazingly slicey. It's just a great knife. But one of the pieces of feedback that I'd love to see on this knife, because I'm a weirdo, but Tell me if I'm wrong. And I know a lot of people don't like fixed blades like me, but this is the TRM red line. I think they call it the red line knife. What if they did a TRM red line EDC that was maybe instead of a 3-inch blade, a 3.5-inch blade, a little bit bigger than the Shadow in this style, but instead of a 5-inch blade, the handle would come down a little bit and you'd have maybe a 3-inch blade. I think that would be to die for. Because I don't necessarily like to see a knife like the Shadow, even though it's so ergonomic, be just reimagined as a fixed blade. Although the Kunwu Pulsar, I don't know if y'all saw that. Um, I don't want to contradict myself, but I would much rather see a small fixed blade like this. But on another note, Kunwu just released, and it might be sold out, we'll check, but they released a Pulsar, which is this model here. I'm not a big fan because it's got the axis lock, so the detent's not that snappy, but they've made this knife as a fixed blade in L-Max with the Kydex sheath for $99. Let's see if it's still in stock. Hold on. And I just happened to see it on their Instagram. Yep, look at this. I don't know if it's still in stock, but I can show it to you. And if I had any cash, if I wasn't in like no work land, I would jump all over this. Can y'all see that? So let's do this. That's what I'd go for probably. That's purple and black. That's black and black. And so this, where is it? I'm telling y'all, Kunwu, value for dollar. Kunwu's killing it, guys. That's a $300 knife. And that is the best knife of 2023. And I haven't seen anything better. Let me see. I could have sworn that was $99. Let me. Maybe it was one of those sneaky things. Let's see. Skiffy, the pre-order, the Stiffy, not Skiffy, the Stiffy. $119 in DLC or $99 in my Carta. And then some other exclusives. So if we look at this, 6.69 inches, 3-inch blade. The handle thickness, no, the width. Thickness is 0.65 inches. Oh, it's Vandis 8. I'm sorry, it's not L-Max. It's Vandis tool steel. Hold on, guys. I got to let the cat in. But look at that HRC. Be right back. But yeah, I think for a fixed blade, I think that is a really sweet little deal at 119 bucks. Vandis, I've got a my Ace Grand is in Vandis, and I haven't cut a ton with it, but it's the shape of this knife and this knife and a fixed blade with that thin little handle. The blade is so useful. And you think about it, it's a great size. I mean, they've got one of the smoothest, this X-Lock, and I put magnets in this one. I've got the polarity wrong. I need to go in and switch them around so it gives it a little more detent. But with almost every axis lock, except for Voss-D that I've experienced, your detent is all your finger. Now, the hole positioning is great on this, but you compare that to the first towel I got, which is a frame lock. Kunwu does their frame locks better than anybody. I mean, the snap, I mean, there's some very pleasurable detent there, and that's just on the towel. When you get into Padre land, you've got one of the best frame locks in the entire game. And it's consistent because my buddy had a satin one just like this, and the detent's just as good. And he just got the black DLC. Listen to the snap. So I've commented and it doesn't do anything, but I did not get a Django at the time because it was an X lock. And I asked them and they said they were. I said, why would you not offer the Pulsar, the Django on some of your other popular designs in an X lock? And if you're selling a lot of X locks, why don't you consider offering the X locks in some of the models that don't have it? Because if the Django was offered in a frame lock, it would be much more desirable to me. But the Padre at $299 in Vandis, is it Vandix? No, it's I have to get my little magnifying glass that I got from CountyCom. Vanix, not Vandis. So yeah, for $299 Vanix with action like this, detent like that, great clip. This is just a winner. But Kunwu's got it going on. And I would love, love, love to grab that fixed blade because I know it's going to be a good knife. Hold on, what's going on? Blah, 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 blah. Key fetch, that stuff, dude, it happens. Hold on, let me see. Don't let it get you totally down, dude. There's just ways you can pivot. I mean, I've been victim of something similar. We can talk, man. DM me and I'll give you my number and we can just kind of talk about it. Don't let the shittiness of organized crime, which is what it is, people taking advantage of the system, stuff out your passion. G Bizzle, what is up? Yeah, people are freaking yes. I agree. Um, I think I told you guys, I got totally hosed 4 weeks ago, and I don't fall for scams. I mean, I'm the one that has to keep my mom and my dad out of the soup, right? Because they're always asking me about shit. But I got taken for 4 bills on a text scam. You know what I think about that? It sucked. And it came in through my new work email and made it sound like it just happened to make sense. And then what's funny is about a month later, you got to be careful, dude. I got the $99 scam where I went to the website. Y'all have to be really careful when you're searching for a specific site because this site will come up. I've seen it on Tri-States Live. It's happened to me, and I fell victim for it because I did it real early in the morning. But it had a chillin', a Vox chillin'. It was a long time ago, 99 bucks, and it looked like a legit site. And it wasn't a paid ad. It was a Google organic search result. It was like the fifth return above the fold. That's not very possible without knowing what you're doing on the back end of a website and getting it credibility at a rapid time. So 99 bucks, I was like, maybe it's on closeout, put it in my cart. My first, if I'd checked it, I would have seen that the pictures were taken from Blade HQ because the B was behind it. When I went to check out, it went to this dude's PayPal, friends and family. I went through with it, dude, like an idiot. Immediately got a receipt for some weird silverware that I never ordered. It never came. Called PayPal. There was nothing they could do. And this is all before 7 o'clock in the morning. But yeah, I mean, there is some shady shit. So anyway, last week, my email comes in. It's the same goddamn text thing. Somehow they're fishing, and I guess since they got me before, they tried again. So they want your number. They're just like, "Hey, man, I'm in a meeting. Can you text me your cell? I don't have it with me, or email me your cell." So I got on the Google and I found the Huntsville Police Department investigation cell number and sent that to them, motherfuckers. Because I'll tell you, if they walked up to me, I would give them and then I'd slice them right down the middle. I have no patience for a thief, and they prey on people, man. As long as they stand behind it. I mean, it's you do have to watch where your data is being kept. I'll tell you, I got hit and I was able to stop it for 600 bucks on some Nikes from a reputable store. And luckily the reputable store, because the bank wasn't going to help me. I went in an office, but the reputable store did not ship until there was a reason. So I was able to call the store, get in touch with their fraud department, stop the transaction from going through, which saved me. The bank said, well, it'll take at least 12 days because we've got to wait for it to clear. I was like, wait for it to clear. Why don't we just stop it? So anyway, long story short, but it was a result of that Blade HQ breach that happened 4.5 years ago, maybe 5 years ago. Um, so yeah, I mean, nobody is above it. So what I do is I check it all the time. Yeah, police won't do anything. Police can't even really get involved. It's just they've got fraud divisions and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's out of their jurisdiction, so to speak. The best thing to do is get right with your bank, dispute that shit. Worst case, unless you did what I did, because what I did on the cash thing is I withdrew cash and went and bought the gift cards because I thought I was buying them because it's not uncommon for ad agencies to give partners shit like that. It was a nightmare. So I had nothing to go back on. I had a cash receipt and I had it was done. So, but yeah, I mean, it's getting more and more sophisticated. My dad, we had to go, and he's got dementia, but we had to go, me and my brother, one morning and stop a $38,000 transfer from his investment account to a guy who was allegedly going to deliver him a BMW because we had to take his Mercedes because he could no longer drive. So we had to take everything of his assets except for like $500 that we leave in his account and put it in another account because he's been accessed. They were able to change his phone number, not thinking that we were in the same town, to isolate him from his family. We had him on electronic withdrawals. We finally let his landline just go dead, but we had him on automatic withdrawals. They somehow set up reverse billing. So they would take the money, AT&T would take the money from my dad's account to pay his bill, and instead of paying his bill, would send it to another account. I didn't even know they would do that. How the fuck would you do that? And my mom's been getting the computer hacks where they hold you ransomware. And I just tell her, let's just put a bullet through the computer and get you another one. Because all she does is play games on it and don't click on shit. But stuff has got now where it's 0 click. But yeah, you just got to watch because it's gotten crazy. It's just frustrating, because yeah, I'm in that spot now. I mean, yeah, they're getting innovative, and what it tells me, G-Ball, is they must be effective, right? So they must be getting, if they got me for 400, and let's say they only got 5 more that day, and this was like at 9 o'clock in the morning. Let's say they got 5 more, because I was probably, and I'm not giving myself a pat on the back, but the smartest motherfucker that fell for that. So let's say they got 5 more people. That's almost $2,400, $2,200. Not a bad day's work. And I can only imagine those fake websites that we saw on one of Tri-State's lives and that I fell victim for $99, which if you look into it, if you look at it, if it's fishy, you'll tell. There'll be so many signs, and no retailer is going to switch you to PayPal. What it is they get you with that search and that dopamine of, oh my God, not only did I find the knife, but it's on closeout. So corner pocket, I haven't seen one in about 8.5 years. I've been on the down low for 8.5 years. Yeah, it's just, it's wacky, and it's made me, there's a lot of validity to say trust your gut, but don't trust with blatant disregard, right? I mean, I think we all know that, but at the same time, you see a deal that looks so good, it goes back to, like, if somebody's selling a knife and it's too cheap, are we not doing a disservice if they need money by buying it that cheap when it should be $100 more? Um, Granted, I'm not saying give a thief $100 more, but that would cut out a lot of the people reaching out on Instagram saying, "Hey, man," I get them all the time. I get them from friends that I know, but I also get them from total strangers. And the thing that I get, and I don't know how this scam works, but it comes through all the time in my request. That, by the way, if you get stuck in my request folder, you might need to just send, yeah, double D10. I mean, we were 3 hours from losing 30. But yeah, it's just, you just got to be careful. That's the bottom line. And, just unfortunately, you really can't trust a lot of people unless you know them, right? So I'll have people show up in my unread messages that look totally legit. And the question is, how much are those still available? So I post pocket dumps on Instagram. Nowhere in the fucking post does it say sale, for sale. I don't know what's the angle there. Why do I keep getting these? Is that still available? I know it's not random people thinking I'm selling knives when I'm not at all selling knives. But I don't trust any of it. And I've had my Instagram profile cloned with a different name using all my pictures. And one of the accounts had like 1,000 more followers than me. God knows what kind of spamming they were doing. But I was luckily, like, Countess Ann and somebody else found my post and sent it to me. And it took me a week to get it taken down. And it was mostly from people like y'all, spamming Instagram, reporting it, because me talking to them, sending them my license, they couldn't do anything. It had to come from the community, saying, "Hey, we suspect this is a fraudulent account or an impersonating account or whatever." It's just, I mean, yeah, people are nutty, and as we all know, the internet is the Wild West of cesspooldom. So the fact that we can keep a crew together from live to live, and we only get a few nutcases is, I mean, statistically so improbable. It's just, it's a tight community because I think we keep those people in check, and those people don't necessarily feel that their safety in numbers when there's just one or two scammers running around in a chat. But you can see it in a lot of the Facebook posts. You can see it in a lot of, I never go to Reddit, but I've heard nightmare stories, right? Um, and again, unfortunately, we don't use the best judgment. What's up, said Stevie? We don't use the best judgment when we're just looking for something with that desire to get it, right? Um, so yeah, that's why it sucks that we have to be that way, but you just gotta, I guess trust but verify twice. This channel's run by a nut job for shiz. Dude, I couldn't be alive today and try to be sane. I mean, that's just why don't watch the news. Watch crazy, crazy shit when I'm not watching knife content. My little bubble is so small. You know the bubbles that you see in the park that have the little cushions on them and people are running inside them and they have races and shit on reality shows? I've got like that bubble that just bounces around my house. I'm so insulated from just all that shit. So sanity would not be a asset for me. I live better in a world of imagination and delusion. Have any of you guys, and this is a licorice question, because a lot of people are going to love this. Yeah, being sane's overrated. But did anybody like the Lundquist designed Vanish or the variant PE? Kaiser has the little Banish in my Carta and 14C for 45 bucks. And it's the same size as the Vanish. I know it's a weird looking little knife. The Vanish is a slip joint. And then the variant, the first one I got, or this is the second one actually, is full size. And they all look funky like that. But I think Kaiser did a great job and brought it in for, I mean, that's the map price. That's the price on Kaiser's side. I don't know what they're selling at dealers. I think I saw it at Blade HQ for 45. But really nice micarta. No stick on the button lock. Really sharp 14C blade. And I haven't experienced a lot of Kaisers. Buddy, I'm going to be there Saturday, said Stevie. My goal is to get Dark Gravity, uh, our buddy, to come because he doesn't want to stay overnight because he has the most romantic long-term marriage, I mean, that you could ever imagine. He doesn't want to be away from his wife, and I don't blame him. But I've got him willing to go over there for Saturday. So I'm thinking I might just go over there early Saturday to get in, spend all day, and come back late Saturday night because we get it's going to be hard. But if I stay over there, Shane would have to bring me up. But I'm going to definitely make an appearance for at least a day. And I want to bring Dark Gravity because he would love it. He goes to the Nashville Custom Knife Show with me every year. And he's walked me around and shown me makers that I had no idea made knives, like Michael Zeba, when he was at the Nashville the Nashville Custom Knife Show. That's where Dark Gravity actually got this knife that he then sold, made in Brooklyn with a blade done by Night Designs. But he knows a lot about the old timey slip joint makers. And I just know he'd have a lot of fun spending a day in the show. And G-Ball, last year, I was prepared to stay in my car. I rented a car to get over there, and I was prepared to just stay in it in the parking garage till I got kicked out and then go somewhere else. Kind of like I had my hammock too, but it was kind of going to be like what do they call that where you do covert camping? They call it something. There are a lot of YouTube videos about it. But yeah, I was just going to live in my car, throw on a hat, and go from there. But luckily, Simplify EDC and Ethan Ruins hooked us up. Said Stevie's got the right plan flying in, but I think stealth camming. Thank you, Chris229. There's some cool channels with stealth camping. I wouldn't get into it that much because for me, a lot of the camping vibe is being kind of away from shit. So camping behind a Walmart in a grassy area is not gonna. It's my mushrooms aren't gonna feel as good. Plus, you've got light pollution, and you're always on. I'd rather be on lookout for a bear or some wild animal because at least I can shoot at it when it's coming at me. Crispy. But yeah, I think Stevie's made probably the longest drive of any knife enthusiast to arrive at a blade show. I don't think anyone has traveled by car or truck to Blade Show and covered more miles than said Stevie. Probably not had an adventure like said Stevie on that trip either, but I mean, that's driving from, if it was in Miami, it would have been a little longer drive, but that's as far east as Blade Show's ever been. And I doubt people drive from Alaska. So think about Stevie. You should get a medal for that. Or you should at least get yourself a trophy and display that. Maybe with the pickup truck on it. We could probably come up with a neat hank that shows Stevie's trek, Stevie's resilience to arrive at Blade Show. And the fact that you brought Snuzz off the trail, that was epic, dude. Epic enough for you not to want to repeat it. Let's get back to our music. What do we want to listen to? Let's go back to some Duke Harrington. So what did everybody carry today? I carried my crew wear shaman. I carried my low drag jack. I've got it in my left pocket. And then I carried in my back pocket my fixed blade Axon. What'd you guys get into today? Or are you carrying now? I carry knives all the way up to bed. Burgers, dogs, and sour diesel. Not necessarily in that order, but it sounds delicious, crispy. Is the music too loud? I've got it in headphones, so I can't really tell. Many Adonis for Chris229. Great knife. I put AWT scales on my Mini Adamas. 5-door carried the Strider 75 AR and a Benchmade shootout. Mark Carrera carried the Manly Peak and the Automesser 3 River. Ooh, Paul Mills, SVD Mini Evo and Bug Out. You know what I realized, Paul Mills, and it's not a big deal, but I was looking the other night. I only did a short. If you look at my shorts, the short that got the most views to date is that the little what I traded with you, and I never did a video on it. It doesn't matter, but I thought that was funny. Congratulations, sharp guy. Demon I carry the Shaman and the Mordax. I need to carry my Mordax more. You know, I sent my Mordax back. I bought it at Blade Show from Dave at ProTech, and we talked for a long time before I got it. He had like 2 left. I didn't notice much about it except that I really liked it. But when I got it home, I noticed it had a little detent lash. It didn't really bother me, but it kind of did. I didn't carry it as much because I've got a Malibu too that's got none. So fast forward about a year, I wasn't carrying it. I reached out to ProTech and asked them about it. Was it normal? And a lady called me back and said, it's absolutely not normal. Please send it back to us. I did have to put a check for return shipping, which I didn't mind, for $15. They gave me the label to ship it to them. And within 9 days, 10 days maybe, I had the knife back, and it was a new knife. Evidently, they couldn't fix it the way they wanted to, but they sent me a brand new Mordax. Joe Isabella carried the Ultra Mini Praxis and the Chrolan. I gotta look that up. I don't know what that finish is. Oh yeah, looks really liking it. Very nice. Very, very nice. Joseph got his Clydesdale. That's a great knife. I had it for a while and then let it go on a Friday Night Flicks, but it's a fantastic knife. Probably one of the coolest big knives, Humphrey, the Artisan Proponent. I had the Mini Proponent and it was huge. I loved it. Yeah, Demon Aqua, what I found out is mine was one of the early batches, and there was a little issue with several of them, and mine fell into that group. That's why they got me another one. And it had something to do with the way it was milled. I'm waiting for OG scales for my 8015. And I've been waiting, no fault of theirs. They're waiting for washers, but I've been waiting for about 8 months. It's been a long time. Mayor Salt carried his Direware S Mini and a flashlight from Alabama. Malkoff. Shut up. Oh. Ooh. Mayor Salt knows his flashlights. Look at these guys. What do we got here? Surefires. Let's look at the Malfires. The Malkaloff. So those good lights, do you like it, Mayor Salt? Drink Waters carrying the all-black Midi Marauder, McBee, and the Feel Good Jack. What an awesome carry. The Midi Marauder is my favorite hinderer, without a doubt, and I put skiff bearings in it. And it really, I mean, I can tighten my pivot all the way down. I don't have any play in my pivot. Is yours a Tanto? I kind of wish mine was a Tanto. I got my Mini Marauder in a Tanto, but it's on washers, and it's, oh, this isn't it. It's on washers, and it's a lot thicker. I don't find myself carrying it as much as my Midi. I mean, it's got great action, don't get me wrong, but I like the Tonto. I almost wish I'd had my Slim Midi in the Tonto, but what are you going to do? I'm lucky. Craig Vincent had his Cold Steel 8010, Cold Steel Mayhem, Silver Eye, Range Boss, the Engage 3.5, the Manix 2 Lightweight, all great knives. The Rough Rider Doctor's Knife and Burnt Tobacco, and his new slightly blemished Clydesdale. Very, very, very nice. Crispy, that is nice, buddy. I've got 2 windows open. It's a little warmer here, but not that warm. Kevin Smith and Knives had his PM2 all day. Open my flamed. What'd you open, Kevin's? What'd you open, brother? Boker Bulldog for B for Baron. Nice one. Jeffrey Dawson had the Van X Creeley PG Mako, the pair of 3 with garnished Tonto blade and Spear Point McNeese. Ooh. I've seen the Tonto and the Drop Point. And I love my Drop Point. I tried at Blade Show last year to get a Tonto and couldn't. Where are the knives? He's changed his website. He's got a new website. Here, I'll share with you guys. And this is an Alabama maker. For you guys that were wondering, he's in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, where our brother Bama Knife Guy is. Let's see. Let's get all knives. I don't want to shop McBee's. Let's go. Is it a Mac 2 spear point? Let's just go to spear point. All right, let's go. Oh, yeah. Great knife, great maker, really nice guy, really humble. Demonox Mornax was a limited edition for USN number 1585. Very cool. I don't think mine wasn't exclusive for Nashville Knife Show, but I don't think my replacement. Great knife though. I'm still a big fan of the Malibu. A lot of people talk about it being old, not having great geometry. Mine is just perfect. I love it. The grinds are even. You can tell I hadn't used it in a while. But I love that little knife. Never been attracted to the Warncliffe. Don't know why. Let's see. You are an Lite marketing guru. Hey, I've got my, and I know it's my only, and it's not even called a bougie flashlight, but I've got my FocusWorks. I think this is the F3 in my pocket. And I've got a 40,000 or whatever you call the more yellow light, F2. Those are my two main go-tos. And then I'm more of a little titanium Rovivon guy. I've got 3 of these over Olites. I don't know why. I've got Olites too. You've got to make content on them. My favorites though are my little lasers. I've got 2 lasers. Look at this beam it puts behind me. That'll shine all the way across the cemetery. It's just like throwing a golf ball. It doesn't get much bigger than that. And I've got a big ass one somewhere. And this is my big laser. So I've got the big one with the tritium vials. But watch this beam. High. Low. But these are really cool for spotting stuff. And I put some little tritium vials in the back. Absolutely. Do I use it? Of course not. But I got it because I'm a gear junkie. Brother Pitt, channel member, carried his Pony Stout, a Giant Mouse Ace Nibbler, and canvas micarta 20 CV. Ooh, nice. 3 inches the legal limit at work. Good. That's good though, Pitt. When I worked, I was in a corporation for 8 years and we weren't allowed to carry knives, and I carried one every day. I risked my employment on it. The McBee is a great little knife. I've experienced one. Top Dog, I'm glad you dropped by for the Shenanigans, buddy. We've had a little bit. We're just kind of hanging, talking about anything, really. Kubi Flame Titanium Momentum. Somebody won the Kubi Royal Titanium Friday night. I forget right afterwards. It should be coming because it went out Saturday. It should be arriving soon. Absolutely remember the Publishing Clearinghouse. I'll tell you how old I am. I joined the record clubs. And they talk about how those were a big ripoff. And I don't know if my parents ever got screwed, but I always would send in a penny. I'd get a bunch of records that I wanted. Then I'd have to send back records for a while. Then I'd have to, I guess my dad being a lawyer would send that I was a letter that I was underage and it would go away. So I always felt like it was a good idea. So I'd enter those record club things that were in the back of TV Guide all the time. Did y'all see the deal at Blade HQ on the M4 Yo Jumbos? Let me show you, and I rarely go to Blade HQ, but I've been checking it lately because I do have an affiliate link with them. So if there's a good deal, and I hate that I didn't tell you guys, there was a Liang Ma 4.0 for $199. Uh-oh, they got the sales gone. Let's see what we got there. I was going to see if they still had on sale. Where's the big sale thing? Sale. They've got the Manix in M4 for $119, the lightweight, but they had the Yojimbo M4 for $164. For any of those of you that are interested, let me know and I'll throw up an affiliate link. You were kidding? I know you are, buddy. Craig, is that not amazing? I think they're called an LPD laser projection device. It's amazing. And they tell you not to shine them at airplanes because you can get yourself in trouble. Todd Carr, what is up? Look at the trees it's been carrying his Exodus jackalope and an adventure craft manufactured by White River and a Leatherman Wave. Streamlight Micro. Very nice, buddy. I've got a small game from White River and it's a great knife. Paul Mills, katana for me tomorrow. Going after liars and thieves. He is a super nice guy, Jeffrey. Super nice guy. Craig Vincent, I will do it, buddy. DM me your email address. Are you on Instagram? Or email it to javonsknifeflix@gmail.com and I'll send it back to you. I'm looking up to see if I missed anybody's giveaway. Nope, nope, Kubi, Themis, and Boker Club. I love my Boker Club. I got mine at Smoky Mountain Knives. They had a sale. And it was one when I was early into slip joints, and I got a Smoky Mountain Knives exclusive tool steel club, a Barlow, and a trapper. So here's my little club. And that was a Smoky Mountain exclusive. And it was like $79. Little solids in Germany with copper bolsters. And then I liked it so much, they had them on sale. I picked up this guy, which I think is a trapper single blade. But what's weird about it is it doesn't have a half stop. But it's also a case. And then I picked up for another $79, which has got the most wear on it, my little Barlow. I love that little knife. But they might still have some at Smoky Mountain Knife Works for those of you that are into. That's one of the things that surprised me more than anything when I got into slip joints, is that you could find some really good slip joints, at least in my mind, for not a ton of money, which I wasn't used to coming from modern folders. And fixed blades for that matter. Hell, fixed blades are up there. Ooh, I had a Kershaw chive. Never had a leak. I still have my Mini Mojito. Have y'all ever seen a Kaiser Mini or a Kershaw Mini Mojito? I'm not going to go get it, but I'll pull it up. It was one of the first. That's just a picture on Amazon. Let's see if they even have a bigger picture. Yep. It's unavailable, but here's a picture of it. Check out this lock. This was my first modern pocket knife. Speed assist. Got this little pull-out lock here. It's a Ken Onion. Crazy recurve, and I've tried to sharpen it a ton. Let's go to images. It only carries tip down. It is a weird one. Let's see if there's a video on it. How do I get it to shut up?
Now,
there we go. That's how we get it to shut up. So that's the mini mojito, which is my first. And then I had a leak. I gave the leak away, but I still have the mini mojito. It's worthless. I mean, it's a good cutter, but it's got that recurve. And I don't know if you can see that little black tab on this side. It's like a Glock safety, where if you just push, you can push the thumb studs, but if you just push the silver side, the little black side's a trigger. So if you push just the side, it locks up. You've got to push over on the black side. But yeah, that was one of my first knives. They do market hardcore. Too much. I'll tell you who else markets a lot. And they market to me because I've got the opportunity to market for them, but I've really never tried one. It's the Woobin. I know I see a lot of people talking about them. The Case Long Haul House Flipper. Case Long House Flipper. You see what that is? I need to learn about knives. I was surprised how big the ooh. Looks kind of like a drifter. Is this it? Is this the longhouse you're talking about? That's a different looking knife. I like that. See, that's something I'm so not educated on at all. Yeah, you'd have to use round stones and dowels and sandpaper. But I use regular stones. I mean, it still cuts stuff, but it looks ugly. Looked too ugly where I felt bad giving it away. Because it doesn't look like its normal good-looking self anymore, right? But I did break out a slip joint, minor slip joint that I hadn't broken out in a while. I've actually got two of these. I've got the, this is the Viper Twin, which is more of a classic drop point, in micarta titanium M390. And then I've got another one that has a different, more of a sheep's footy blade style. But these are really good knives. I think White Mountain had them for around $150. Perfectly centered, a modern traditional, kind of like the QSPs. This is one of traditional pocket knives, Austin's collaborations in carbon fiber and M390. Still one of my favorite slip joints to date. Just a nice hollow grind. I'm really looking forward to the nip slip coming out because I really enjoyed it too. But then you've got your feel-good jacks, you know, which are a couple of hundred more. And I still like a slip joint. Jack Wolf. I know they're more expensive. I don't have a lot of them. I have two that I got over time. Both of well, one of them was on sale. And I love this knife. It sharpens up so quick. And I've only had to sharpen it once because it wasn't as sharp as I wanted it to be. See what else we got over here to look at. Got my Max Ace. These are back in stock. They only have, I think, the serrated dagger now in silver, but they're starting to release these more and more on Max Ace's site, and they're still $108. This is the drop point. They have a drop point, a dagger, and a serrated dagger. And it's a full-size knife, but it's got an SD Magic blade steel, which is a kitchen steel, but it's got a sand mine treatment to it. I don't know if you can see that band. It goes along the bottom. But for an out the front, which I never was an out the front guy, this was only $108, so I figured I'd give it a try, and I love it. The pocket clip on it's great. It's as slicey as anything. And the spring is strong. It hasn't misfired once. I have to use the side of my finger because my finger's not strong enough to pull straight back. I've got to give it one of these. But the clip is just a simple deep carry clip that works great. Then I've got my Protect SNG, which I traded for with Brother Paul Mills. I love this knife. This is in C, what is it? 154, I think. And then I broke out the arc form theory, which I guess you'd call it a modern folder, but it's got just a really great design for cutting. It's just a very ergonomical, minimalistic, medium full-size knife that's super slicey, has fantastic action, great thumb studs, great reverse flick. Really glad I picked up that knife. And then I've got an oldie, but a goodie. And these are still available. Y'all, I don't know if this is going to be interesting to anybody, but they've got, that's awesome, Pretty Fly. This is the Bird Blade Slim. These are in stock. They've got their other knife, Something Wolf, but they've also got the Button Lock Barber. I did a review on my buddy's Button Lock Barber last week. I didn't think I'd like it. I like the barber. I love the blade, but I didn't think I'd like the button lock. It is a fantastic knife, and they are in stock at Berg Blades, as is the Slim. And then I've got this little servant now, Simpleton, and he is on Instagram under a different name now, but it says he's going to start making knives in 2024 again. This is a little M3 hard use small knife, thick, stabby. And then I've got a little J-Cal cleaver with G10 and purple liners and a little bit of gripper texturing there. And then I've got a little TKL Piranha, which I think is a great little knife. It's a little bit larger than a Chickadee, but it's all made up for in the handle. So it's a true 4-finger, small EDC fixed blade for me. And they're very reasonably priced in 80 CRV. They use a nitrite boron coating, nitrite boron coating, which is the same thing they use in pew-pews. And it makes it really corrosion resistant and evidently ups the wear resistance. And then I've got a Marlboro Handcraft little prick out here, which has been a delightful knife. It used to be on a couple of, well, one horizontal strap, but it's butt heavy, so it wouldn't ride right on my belt. So I put an ulti clip on it. Now I carry it in my back pocket. And this is just a little scalpel. This did a little cleaning work on my whittling stick that I've been working on over there. Most of it was done with the red line. And then I've got my cool little Nori neck axe. Have y'all seen this yet? Got a magnetic holster or little sheath that has a big belt clip on the back, or you could wear it on your neck. But you've got this little axe, little titanium handle, and the whole thing is jimped. So you've got jimping around everything except the blade. So you can hold it like that, hold it like that, use it to chop your lines. You can use it for a lot of little weird shit. But one of them, I think, self-defense. But what's cool about it is it locks into this magnet thing so it doesn't fall out. And then it's got the little switch here that you can turn just a little bit to keep it from really falling out. Little mid-guard messer. And then one of my favorite fixies, my EDW by Colin McGuire at Mag 10 Knife Works. This is a great, thin, slicey little knife. What's up, Bama? How are you, my man? And then what I'm convinced, until I see a better one, and I'm sure they're out there, the best bar lock to date, this Vostede Dachshund. It's got actual detent. And look at it suck the blade in. Well, as I say that, it failed it. Failed it 3 times in a row. It's got an easy front flipper to use. And right now, not that it matters, but Vostede's having a 20% off sale on those. Let's look at this real quick. So if you go to Vostede, this knife looks gorgeous. Jared did a review on it today, but I haven't watched it. It's using that compression lock. But they've got a flash sale, 20% off. And they've got stuff like the, and you get your 20% in checkout. So they've got some Dachshunds, mini Labradors, which are really small, chipmunks, small. They've got some Lite flashlights, really just a Dachshund. So what's 20 off that? 229. Takes it down to about 200. So you can probably get it for that cheap at Blade HQ or somewhere like that. But they've got new arrivals. I haven't experienced any of these, but I'm really interested in this one. I think it looks really good. It's got the top liner lock, which is kind of like the Smock L-Max. I like this one. The plain tie sold out. Let's see what else is sold out. That one's still available. And that one's still available. So I guess out of those two, I'd like the black, but they'll come back in stock. But yeah, Vostede seems to be killing it. I don't know what the Tarius is, unless that's just a non-titanium Dachshund. It looks very similar. Edgy American, what's up, buddy? Ooh, I need to see that. I've missed that. Walther Brand. Nice. Oh, that is the little guy. How's that handle? Is it a folder? The one I found looks like a folder, a little neck knife. The only knives I wear as neck knives currently, I got a few. These little hurricanes. Since I'm not wearing button downs right now, I used to carry them like a pin, button down, just like my top shirt pocket. And then I carry this one, but most everything else is a little heavy for my liking. I carry that little guy. Or it's not on chain. This is a great little neck knife. It's a little tiny guy. Great package opener. I wouldn't want to cut a lot of long-term shit with it. Edgy, any good news from everything going on? What did I need to show you guys? What did I not show? Oh, Tony Boombots, is that what we want to look at? Tell me, because I'll pull up my I'm watching the chat looking for it's the neck knife. Okay, I'll find it. I wish I had some double A's. I know those. I've got some double A's, but no triples. What did I miss? Knife nut. I am totally ADHD, but I do want to. Do we want to see the link? I see one link. I'm trying to scroll up. I thought I was caught up. Let's see what that Tony Boombots is. Tony's channel. If y'all not signed up for this channel, we'll throw it back in the chat. I'm gonna pin it for a sec. Whatever I was looking at, the Walther neck knives. I got you. And I was ADHD. I'll do a lot of that sometimes, and then I'll keep talking through it, but I'm not looking at the chat, and people are going, "Hey, Gabe, we're not saying anything." Maybe it's this. Here's a neck knife. Is that it? I like the little sheath. Where'd it go? There it is. Was that it, Timmy? Or is it a different one? Did I spell it wrong? Let's see if browse a few new arrivals. Oh, I'm not into out the fronts. Nothing looks new there. I haven't been to DLT in a while. That's one thing about not having any income. You don't do a lot of knife browsing. So a lot of this stuff's brand new to me, where I used to go to these sites like an addict 3-4 times a day. Oh, blah, blah, blah. The Wee knife Quibbit looks interesting to me because it doesn't have that little funny can opener thing. I gave one of those away, not an S35, it was 14C, Friday night. That was a cool little knife. And Edgy, I don't know if I told you, but I borrowed A to Z's large Sabenza 31, which I'd never before that even liked or was on my radar. I fell in love with that knife. I totally get it. I get what people like about it. And I never, even though I could thumb flick it, I wouldn't have to switch the thumbs out or the studs out if I got one, and I would just slow roll it all day long because it feels so good and it locks up so well. And it cuts like nothing else. It's a great knife. That can go either way, Todd. You can go in with good intentions, and they have a game that they play too, and they're good closers. Let's see what the restocks, because that's where I found my Microtech, Gramlock, and I found a couple of other cool things at DLT. I used to buy a lot from DLT. DLT, River's Edge Cutlery, we need to go there. Medford must drop some stuff. Dead Reckoning, I've seen a lot about them, but I haven't tried them yet. And then y'all tell me the story. Tell me a story about this overly priced Benchmade that I don't understand. And I know that sometimes Benchmades are overpriced. A recurve. I know it's an old knife. They brought back aluminum handle. What's the metal? MagnaCut. $600. I'm not seeing it. I know it's a limited edition knife, so they're not going to be a lot of them around. But when I see it, I go, hard pass. Hard pass. Let's see. Got some DMT strop and paste. Got all right. All the new gunny is back in stock. Let's go to real quickly River's Edge Cutlery. That'll be all the places that I ever look. LT Wrights. Those are actually good value knives. I picked up an LT Wright Plainsman. I'll show you in just a second. It's right behind me. They've got an aluminum stitch that's partially serrated. Trevor Burgers, Barton's. Yeah, this is stuff. That's an expensive slip joint, but it's pretty. MagnaCut, Westinghouse wood micarta. It's pretty nice. I don't think it's $1,000 for me, but I don't have 100, so much less $1,000. That's hashtag winning, Shane. Yeah, you got to be careful. I know I was in Cleveland. I was actually on my way through Cleveland, and my old business partner and I stopped at one of those shadier clubs, and you had to be careful even going in the bathroom there to pee because the crabs would use toothpicks and pole vault onto you. What's funny, let's see if I can give away. I don't think I can. I think because I know Metal Complex always gives away memberships. And Lefty and I have tried to find them. And I think you have to be at a certain number because I don't have any memberships to gift. Let's see. Can't do that. Don't want to do that. I don't see it. Does he pay for them? I know he pays for some Demonite. He pays for half because I've heard him say, I'm going to go ahead and add 10 to that. But I think every month he gets X amount to give away, which makes sense. You know, if you're a big creator on the platform, YouTube wants to encourage that growth, right? Especially when you've got revenue tied to it, like memberships. The goal being that people see value in the membership and keep it, right? An ad here? I know you might have seen one when you came in, but you shouldn't have seen one during the stream. Night Night, you got one too? How long have we been streaming? An hour and 42 minutes? I usually see them when I come into them in live. I've never seen one. That's bizarre. I don't see anything in StreamYard that would. Leland got one. Have y'all been getting them, or did you just get one? Guys, that's strange. Skip them if they come through. I have no control over that. It's just I guess a YouTube thing. Edgy, how many dollars is that a month? First ad you've seen. Let me look at something. Let me see if I can go into YouTube. It says ads automator off. It says focus your live stream and let YouTube insert ads for you. Turn on or dismiss. So I've got a notice asking me to turn them on, and I've never turned them on. Let me show y'all. So if I would think that this would go away if I chose to turn them on. I would think you'd see one, but the monetization's on for people that come in for the first time or when it goes to be just a video, but I don't have it serving during and it looks like I've got the option and they're trying to get me to turn it on, but I haven't. So maybe they just try to throw one in there to see if anybody will notice it. Yeah, but live streams are, I thought, a little different. And I can see how if you watch it on the back end, how you would see an ad if you don't have YouTube Premium, maybe. But you have the choice to load those as requested, light, or heavy. And I always do them as not requested, as suggested. But my videos are short. I think my longest video might be 30 minutes. Now, I have watched some content creators that seem to have a very heavy ad load. And I don't know how much of that is them or how much of them is YouTube seeing that they've got an audience there. And that's exactly true, Edgy. YouTube is so temperamental. And people's platforms can be taken away in no time. Can happen anytime. I mean, they could just change their policy one day, kind of like Instagram's slowly doing. Instagram's changed a ton since Facebook acquired it. Even if you haven't had any issue posting the content you post, I guarantee you your reach has gone down probably 1/5 of what it was. I wonder if that has to do with the fact that I'm streaming it to Twitter too. Let me look over in Twitter. Let's see what's happening there. I don't think we have any viewers. I'm sure we don't. Let's go home. Because I know YouTube would only stream it for we just got an empty stream here. Check this out. Hello out there. There. Then we'll go tweet. So that's what streaming looks like on Twitter. And let's see what happens. Let's see what happens if I add Instagram. Head to Instagram, create like, you'll see this. I'm sure you have an Instagram professional account. Oh, okay, that's why I can't do it. I'd have to copy the stream key and paste it. I don't think I have. Let's see what Instagram says. Just for shits and giggles. That's when I changed my account back because it kept getting flagged. Let's see what happens if I go here. Where did it tell me to do that? Let's go back to Lite here. Most you go to head to Instagram on desktop and click create. Okay, let's see what happens there. Create. I don't see a create button. Edit profile, blah, blah, blah. Create. Drag photos and videos here. I can only select from computer, so I guess I can't do it. So if I had a professional account, I could also stream there, but why would I want to? Because nobody's probably watching it. But I figured why not throw it out there into the universe, right? T-Fetch, don't start talking about Taco Bell, buddy. I'll get the munchies. Yeah, you can on Instagram, you can go in and you can set up a lot of different places, destinations, right? But all of them are different on how they treat different content. So I knew Twitter would kind of be a safe haven, even though, as y'all just saw, we have nobody on Twitter. We've been streaming though. We've had one view, which is probably me, and it's been streaming consistently. It seems to be streaming consistently now. So, kind of interesting. Craig, I get it. I've started throwing up a few knife pictures because I've noticed Spyderco and several other knife companies are over there that I follow. And so I've tried to have a little presence over there because it used to be where I used it just as a news service. I listened to certain sources, from digital marketing sources to your main BBC, Fox News, all your different news. So you'd always hear what was allegedly happening. And it's just a cesspool now where if we go over there and we just look at the tweets, the shit people are talking about, it'll be curated based on my feed, which is pretty mild. But I mean, so much of it's just crazy, crazy shit. But there is some knife content on there, and I always try to engage with it. But it's few and far between. Who the fuck's that? Barack Obama? Fuck that. That's it. So you gotta love that. Choke her out. Let's see it. Uh-oh. She put a judo move on him. So it's just all kinds of weird shit over on Twitter. But I've curated it to where I've tried to just follow the shit I want to follow. And I use it just for kind of news. And to just engage with knife content. I don't have any followers over here. I want to say I've got, and I used it for work. So it used to be most of my followers are from 529 followers, and I'm live here. 4 people have viewed it. So we'll just keep it going while we stream and see what happens. That's exactly how it's supposed to be. That's what my Instagram is. My Instagram is knives and chicks. And I've noticed that so many chicks can now filter their way into your feed to try to get you to there's no reason to start now, Jeffrey. It's called X now, so it's changed where it's more like a wild, wild west where you can kind of say everything. But it was good to use if you wanted to be notified of like news. So I went in there originally and followed like 20 different people, a couple of comedians that said funny shit. No, I don't get my news from Twitter anymore, but I follow like Fox News, the AP, CNN, all of them. I mean, if you follow all the major news outlets, you're getting an aggregation of different versions of the truth, right? and then like the Drudge. There's all kinds of independent sources you can follow, but I don't like live off of it, right? I just do it to see what people are fighting about, because that's what happens is when somebody tweets something, you get the entertainment or the shock, or when you want to see the degradation of society, you read the tweets and the replies, people who pin the tweet and retweet it, and all the hate that's generated, because it's basically feeding different sides of a narrative on everything. What's up, Mark Parks? So anything you look at is going to be, so if we went to trending, FAFO is trending. So that's going to be just all people that fucked around and found out. So, and this is just based on what people have been talking about. So evidently this is about to get not good. I have a feeling something's going to go down if it's called fuck around and find out. Yeah. So you've got crazy shit like that. I mean, you can go, and all this is just crazy shit, right? And then you can go back to trending, and you can see that Willie Nelson's, I mean, any of this stuff that's trending can be kind of weird, right? So it's just weird stuff, really weird stuff. And I try to follow actual sources, people that have a lot of followers, just to see what's up. I don't make decisions on it. I don't let it necessarily influence me, but I do like to be plugged in, because I don't watch the news. I don't have 24-hour news streaming at me, because it's depressing. I'd rather get just blips of when shit fires off, what happened, the basics, the ADHD version of a newscast. Keep it simple, keep it quick, keep it to 140 characters or less, which they don't do anymore. You know who my favorite comedian is right now? And I urge you guys to check him out. It's Tim Dillon. I don't know if y'all, and I don't take any of his sides, because he's a contrarian. He's just looking for the craziness. But if you get a chance and you want to watch something just totally different, go subscribe to the Tim Dillon Show and watch his crazy shit. That dude, to me, is probably the funniest, smartest comedian out there right now, or one of them. You're exactly right. And everything in between is a biased viewpoint. Do you wonder about this? And I hate to even bring up religion, but you've got one book that's been interpreted by so many different denominations to mean kind of what they want it to do. That's exactly right. And it's because he has long form content. You cannot learn what someone's intentions are by sound bites on a late night show, on a news show. They can't have their whole point flushed out in 5 minutes. But on Rogan, they've got 3.5 hours to talk about whatever they're talking about. And he'll push people back. I mean, he's trying to figure out the truth wherever it is too. And I think more and more media is going that way. As a matter of fact, I know it is. That doesn't necessarily mean on a broad scope that things are going to be more truthful. But what you've got on Rogan that makes him unique is you've got little Jamie, who is sitting there fact checking everything being said, even correcting Rogan, just to make sure that they're not putting out misinformation. Now, again, you can read information that's factual, like an article about ivermectin, and then you can have bias on each side, right? I mean, you can say, no, it's terrible. Yes, it's great. Yeah, the truth somewhere in the middle. George Carlin is great. Yeah, we don't want to follow George yet. And I'll tell you who else is a great comedian, probably one of the best storytellers ever, is Dave Chappelle. I mean, Dave Chappelle is on another level. I mean, Tim Dillon's whole thing is he pushes buttons. And he can get away with it in a lot of ways because whether he is or not, he claims he's a gay man. So he can make a lot of really off color jokes that you would think on any other format he'd be canceled. Can you imagine if they ever tried to do a Living Color in this day and age? I mean, Living Color was great TV. I waited for it every week. Saturday Night Live used to be a little edgy. Now that I'm older, I realize that it was always kind of propaganda. But what's great about, let me find this. Go Tim Dillon. What was McCain? I'm probably get copyright struck for this, but it'll be worth it. We can cut it out. Have y'all seen this? Y'all give me a if y'all have seen this short that they did during the pandemic where he dressed up and acted like Meghan McCain and did that little skit that was so off color that was horrible. Have y'all seen this? I'll shock you with it. And we'll see what happens. Let me turn off the music. And y'all tell me if you've seen this. This is just a short they put out. It got how many views? I don't know how many views.
I had a baby with him, and it will be raised in captivity. It'll be raised privately to be the greatest politician that has ever lived. My name is Meghan McCain, and I'm on a news show called The View. And Donald Trump, that fucking riverboat casino captain, is talking shit about my father again. My father was tortured for 100 years for this fucking country, and he came back and he started 7 wars because he's a gentleman. Fuck you, Trump. I'm going to wear my father's skin mask, and I'm going to...
I don't know if y'all heard any of that. What's up, Rob? But I had to stop it there just because it didn't go too far. But he gets so deep. I mean, I don't know what his real leanings are, but you would think if you watch his show that he leans a little to the right, but he fucks with both sides equally. He's hilarious though. I mean, he's done all kinds of just terrible shit. And I mean, he makes fun. Nobody's off limits.
He's a Heisman Trophy winner. And you people don't like that a black guy's got things to say? He's just supposed to be in the Naked Gun and dance around like a clown for you? This guy's wife was murdered, probably by a racist who didn't like interracial marriage. He's Khloe Kardashian's father.
I mean, he just goes off on crazy, crazy shit. I'm sorry, Crispy. I'm just talking about some of the crazy shit that I get partial news from. But yeah, Tim Dillon is he's not my crush, my internet crush. We know who that is. But no, y'all need to check out his comedy if you want to sit there with your mouth open. But he's absolutely hilarious. Rob had it going on over there tonight. He had a great live. Sam Kinison, he's not, but Sam Kinison was a once in a lifetime comic. I mean, there are a few of those that came through. I think also, what's his name? God, why am I spacing on it? John Belushi had so much that he could have offered. I mean, physical comics, and Sam Kinison was just a screamer. It's not news, it's comedy. But he makes comedy about current events. So his podcast is weekly. So what he's talking about is the crazy shit that's going on. And it points out a lot of the hypocrisy that we all know is happening, but he just talks about it. He talks about the Sackler family. He talks about, he talks about all the crazy, crazy shit. Exactly. That's one of the best Kinnison lines ever. Yeah, he got did he got hit by a car? No, Roseanne got hit by a car and Sam was in a car wreck because they said Roseanne's genius also came from her when she was 15, she was hit by a car on her bike. But yeah, Sam was crazy. And the stories, if you ever listen to Pauly Shore talk about when Sam Kinison kind of raised him when his mom was running the store and he was 14 when Pauly was. Y'all are making me want Mexican pizza, but I know it's getting ready to close, so I'm going to be out of luck there. But there were some lightnings in a bottle out there, that is for sure. But I'm not one of those guys who could sit probably through a comedy show, just like I can't sit through a movie. I'm good at watching some sketch stuff, some independent stuff, maybe on YouTube, some of the clips. Yeah, the Wees had a very interesting life, a very interesting life. And Richard Pryor was my favorite. Eddie Murphy, that Delirious, and the one he did before that with the red suit were two of the best comedic performances I saw as a kid, and probably today. I like some of today's comedians, but I don't like their stand up nearly as much as I like their bit stuff or their podcast stuff or just some of the little clips that are results of their podcast, which it's easy to get a funny clip out of a 3-hour podcast. Stephen Wright was a trip. Why do we drive on a parkway and park on a driveway? I mean, his mind just worked different. I loved it. And I'll tell you who I liked, who wasn't that funny, but at the time it was because I had middle school humor, was Andrew Dice Clay. And he was the first comedian ever to sell out arenas. And I didn't know he was that big. And old Chappelle just opened a nightclub or a comedy club from his hometown. He's from somewhere in Ohio. That is a great album. And it's funny because all my comedy albums are on vinyl. I think I had one tape, one 8-track. I don't remember who that was. That might have been George Carlin. The 7 words you can't say on TV. Yeah, all his nursery rhymes. The hickory dickory dock, little boy blue. He needed the money. I mean, all those were just, definitely not deep humor, but they were just funny and shocking. But again, stuff you couldn't get away with today, right? Because when I was growing up, we could separate humor from political discord. And now I think everybody's so on edge and looking for something to be just totally affected by that they make mountains out of molehills. I mean, yeah, comedy is just designed to get a response, but the reason everybody laughs or most people laugh in the comedy club is because it's not designed to be clipped and then mass circulated to go viral where you're listening to one 3-minute part of an hour show that was part of a set. Where people are trying to get people to go, ugh, or laugh, right? That's not an easy thing to do. I still love Eminem's lyric where he's like, Will Smith didn't have to cuss in his rap to sell records, but I did, so fuck him and fuck you too. So you don't have to be that person, right? But Bill Cosby used to not cuss, and look where that got him. I'd rather have a dirty comic that has morals, that does what they're supposed to do, be a good human. It doesn't seem that being a good human would be that hard, but I think it's a choice. What's up, Rob? Cat Williams is a genius. Oh, they're everywhere. They're absolutely everywhere. And I kind of blame the media and the machine for that. I mean, there is a machine, I'm convinced, that puts a lot of dialogue out and delivers it directly to people who oppose it. Ron White is hilarious. I watched his podcast with Theo Von, not Theo Von, with Duncan Trussell was a guest. He was a guest, and they were on Weezer's Pauly Shore's podcast, and they asked the last time that they did acid, and Ron White had done acid 2 hours before the podcast. He was tripping. Yeah, those are great. I mean, the way his brain worked. I mean, just to come out with that type of stuff and be able to deliver it with such a deadpan, it's just classic. But yeah, to get offended should open dialogue for people to discuss why they have different opinions. They don't have to agree after they've discussed it, but just understand the human behind their opinion. It may verify everything you thought about that human, or it may make you think we just have different opinions. Tell me if y'all can hear this. Did y'all hear music? Just out of curiosity. Probably not. I know y'all heard my explosion though. I need to use that one more. But yeah, there's always, when you have people coming from so many different areas of the country, so many different life experiences, so much raising, right? That whether we agree with it, whether we are consciously aware of it, we're all different, right? So that's all part of just being tolerant and being human. You don't have to be spineless to where you're always going to change your beliefs based on the people around you, which I think a lot of people in a city in the West Coast do that very well. But I do think you need to be real, right? So I can have a set of beliefs, share those with somebody who has different beliefs, and still agree to disagree and like and value the person that I have a disagreement on that one issue with for all the other things that attracted me to them. It's so different. It was Robbie. I was born in Iran. I was born in '67, and it was a lot different. Um, it's it's crazy shit, you know. And I think a lot of it's not by happenstance. I think it is part of absolutely, absolutely being respectful and having a rational conversation. And if you watch any of those panel shows now where you have people talking about the Palestinian war, or you have people talking about anything, it always degrades to shouting matches, right? So nothing gets accomplished in those except you see how intolerant people can be. You don't have to agree, but I think you do have to be respectful and hear each person's side with their beliefs, because they're obviously, for good reasons or for bad reasons, they've got a position that they take that should be heard. If you're going to invite them on a panel to be heard. I used to love Fred Sanford, Red Fox. What was that show called? The Summer of Love, Crispy Critter. Five Door, that's true. Not everyone does. But to some extent, they almost need to be allowed to say them so that if they are not valid, they might have the chance to hear something different, right? Even if they don't agree with it. Sanford and Son, that was it. Even if they don't agree with it, to hear a different side. Norm was great. To hear a different side is valuable to those people. And I can think of people that I don't know personally, but you think of the situation of if you were raised in, no offense if you're Scientologist, but if you were raised in something that was different, that you then left when you were an adult for whatever reason, you've got to get that safety where people can feel that they can talk about it, right? Um, and they believe something forever until they got enough information from people that they were sheltered from to realize that maybe what they were being fed wasn't all that healthy. Um, and then people don't at all. People can be in that same situation and get the same information, and their convictions only grow stronger. So that's the beautiful thing about the human spirit. It's different. It rocks in a lot of different ways. And Ron, I think it'll swing. I think it'll swing back to people having to be tolerant, because I think you've got some really smart, successful comedians that are successful on their own right, i.e., they're not beholden to corporate sponsors in a big way, which means they've got other streams of income, and they'll all probably at some point sell out. But your Cat Williams, your Dave Chappelle's, some of your younger comedians right now that aren't afraid to criticize the hypocrisy that we all exist in, those are the type of people I think that get the dialogue really started. I think we need those people, even though I don't watch them a lot. Except in short spurts. T-Fex, that was a great one. You know what I also used to love on Saturday Night Live, and I hate to even admit it? Where's my juice go? But Deep Thoughts with Jack Handy. Were y'all old enough to remember those? The Deep Thoughts with Jack Handy? Little excerpts that would come on before commercials. I can't think of any of the Deep Thoughts right now, but I can Google them in a second. Because he also had a couple of books. But Deep Thoughts with Jack Handy, the way they were read. Oh, Deep Thoughts with Jack Handy. So his thoughts were, here's one right here. It takes a big man to cry, but it takes a bigger man to laugh at that man. If you ever fall off the Sears Tower, just go real limp, because maybe you'll look like a dummy and people will try to catch you because, hey, free dummy. They were classic, Ron. Chevy Chase was a great comedian, but obviously an asshole from everybody who. Here's another deep thought from Jack Handy. Sometimes when I feel like killing someone, I do a little trick to calm myself down. I'll go over to the person's house and ring the doorbell. When the person comes to the door, I'm gone. But you know what? I've left on the porch a jack-o'-lantern with a knife in the side of its head and a note that says, you. After that, I usually feel a lot better. No harm done. Good shit like that. And the way they'd read it, they had that narrator that would read it. Good stuff. Those are classic albums. Yeah, Pee Wee was classic. He got tried to get canceled early for some bullshit. I mean, what else do you do in those theaters? I haven't been to one, but I would have think that would be kind of norm. Let's do a Twitter check. I'll share it with y'all. Twitter is kicking right now. The stream's still live. Oh, it's raining like hell here. So do you guys have a busy week? I've got to get something going. So here's another Jack Candy deep thought. Maybe in order to understand mankind, we have to look at the word itself, mankind. Basically, it's made up of two separate works, mank and end. What do these words mean? It's a mystery. And that's why so is mankind. If you ever catch on fire, try to avoid seeing yourself in the mirror because I bet that's what really throws you into a panic. I mean, those are great. No, but I used to when I was a kid when we had video stores and we had a little neighborhood one that we'd go rent the movies for the weekend. And me and my buddies, while my mom was out getting the movies, we'd slip back behind the curtain and look at the boxes of all the X-rated ones. I love the Sniglets. The Sniglets were classic. I mean, you think about that classy content. I mean, and if you look at content creation on YouTube, there is some good stuff, but you would think there'd be a lot more good independent content where people would come out because you could do so much of that stuff with a small crew if you were talented and do it on YouTube. You look at just some of that dumb shit that some of those influencers like the Pauls did when they were coming up, or that little creep Jack Doherty. I'll show y'all something intense that I sent to my buddy D2. Let me find it. This might be something good to end on. This guy's amazing. If you want to see talent. Now, no telling how long it took him to do this. Let me find it. Let me find it. This guy. Pause it. Let me share it. Tell me when y'all can see it. So what he's doing is he's sitting on a couch. He's got a deck of cards and he's throwing them at this drill that's spinning, trying to get the card. This is his first trick. He does a bunch of tricks, but watch this when I hit play. Watch this next trick. I don't know how many times he would have had to do this. But he does all this. He's throwing CDs trying to get him in his Wii. I mean, to me, that's the kind of shit that's cool. He's trying to hit with a card that disc and knock it into his Wii. I mean, that dude's got talent, guys. It might not be much for anything, but I find shit like that cool. Yeah, I mean, it's got to be hours and hours and hours. I can't imagine. I hope, and I hope none of y'all are making a living on TikTok, but I really would have no problem if that went away. TikTok has got some of the most degenerates, and I'm sure there's good content on there. I won't download it because I won't agree to their terms of service. Have you ever seen TikTok's terms of service that you have to agree to? TOS. I urge you guys, if you use TikTok, to go read their terms of service, because it talks about what your relationship is. So anything you plug into, any computer you touch. So this is what they account and profile information such as name, age, username, password, and I know American companies do too. User generated content, messages which include information included blah blah, purchase information, your phone and social network contacts, um, information to verify, information blah blah blah, information. If you choose to sign up or log into the platform using a third-party service such as Facebook, Twitter, blah blah blah, we may collect information from that service. Where's the one about other computers you use? Hold on. Automatically collected information. Device information. We collect certain information about the device you use to access the platform, such as your IP address, user agent, mobile carrier, time zone settings, blah, 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 blah. And then it goes, we automatically assign you a device ID and user ID. Where you log in from multiple devices, we will be able to use information such as your device ID and user ID to identify your activity across devices. We may also associate you with information collected from devices other than those you log onto in the platform. That means if your phone is attached in any way to your work computer, but you never use that to log in, you're basically telling TikTok, have at it. So that's the big issue, right? Allegedly. It's Joe Rogan pointed it out a long time ago. But I know and I've heard a lot of people, comedians, Tim Dillon was one. He's like, I feel more comfortable with China having my information than I do with the government. Yeah, Rob, you can't use it. A lot of people in any government job can't use it. And it's a good thing. You never want to download it to your phone. I downloaded it once. So I've given them whatever that information was, but I canceled out of it and deleted it. Deleted the, allegedly deleted my profile. There's nothing there. I mean, I can see how you could scroll forever because it's just shit. I mean, little short shit. Let's go to TikTok. See if it lets us just go there without logging in. I don't want to use anything. I just want to go to TikTok. So it's just crazy. I think they call this the For You screen, where it just goes through, and depending on what data you've given them, they've got all this just shit. So I'm just not a fan. And if it goes away, so be it. Plus, that's where most of the e-beggars live. The people that have those battles, and they're sitting there battling for gifts. And if we look at those gifts, TikTok. Let's go to TikTok live. This is where all the degeneracy is. I want to mute that. We'll find some people begging here in a second. Hold on. Let's find somebody begging. And these people stream all day long. Let's do this. This chick is always live. She's psycho. That's not her. Let's do this. on. I don't think explore. Yeah, it's just degenerate stuff. Let's see, where were we? What some of these go to? There should be other just people sitting there talking, begging for shit. Let me go. I know who to search for. Jason Nash. I don't know how you find out who's live, and I'm not following anybody. Anyway, usually they're just on there begging for cash. But I don't see anybody who seems to be in a split window begging for cash. I mean, it's just weird shit. Very weird shit. Barry, what is happening, dude? We were just exploring TikTok. The goal is, Todd, they're trying to convince China to sell it to an American company. And the contrarian comedians I'll watch ask, is it because America's worried about secrets, or there's so many people using TikTok that America wants that data? We collect data. I'm a digital advertiser, and data is currency. Data is collected on all of us all the time, whether we use a Kroger card or whether you log into websites, whatever you do, we know, what's up, Zach? Oh no, tearing apart your laptop. Are you adding RAM, buddy? Or a new hard drive? I agree, T Fetch. I mean, but there's so much just weirdness, right? In the whole dichotomy of it all. It's strange. And TikTok, for it to have blown up like it did, really, which I think was during the pandemic, I think it's got more users. Let's see, go TikTok user numbers. TikTok global users. 1.56 billion. So if we compare that, TikTok is currently one of the world's most popular revenue generating social media networks as of April. And it's mainly kids using it. Where was that? Influencer types. Less than 15,000 followers. They typically have 17. So it just shows how it breaks down. Interesting. 18 to 24 years is the biggest demographic, then 13 to 17, then under 13, and then it gets down with the older people. But it's a trip, man. I mean, it's something that's definitely making an impact. I don't get it, nor do I get Kick and that IRL stuff. Jeffrey Dawson, they could send you a penny and feed a starving knife collection. we would be living good. But Ray, I think does really decent over on TikTok because evidently, and again, I would not be on TikTok, but evidently they pay really well. Let me see if I can find Everyday City Carry because he's found a way to do knife content and not get flagged. I don't see him on here. Every day. Is that what Ray goes by? Oh, there's 2 R's. Let's see if I can find him. It looks like their search is about as good as oh, here it is, the real EDC. So here's Ray and his TikTok has been doing well.
This is the Axial Knives Alpine. Shout out to Bluminati Ninja, provided these stickers. I mean, everyone has better merch than me, I gotta be honest. Look at this. So definitely give him a follow. He wrote a little note too. These are inserts for this fixed blade. This thing is sick. It's USA made. Check it out. I love the tension on the kite.
See, so he doesn't show. Let's see how he shows.
As an EDC content creator, I get sent a ton of stuff, but this one I grabbed on my own.
I don't know what he's
really had to search for this. And a lot of people have been asking me what this thing is. I've shown it in a bunch of videos, and here it is. This is the Max Ace capsule. Yes, it looks like it's from Pokemon or from Gundam. It is sold out everywhere. You cannot get this. I bought this on the secondary market. And which market is that? It is.
So, I mean, he's very active on TikTok. And you can see he's getting a lot of views. Aw.
All right, Amelia, I have a question for you.
I am going to tell you a story of how a...
All right, Amelia, I have a question for you, okay? So I've been looking at sneakers, right? I've been looking at sneakers, and I've been looking at 3 pairs, right? Now, I really want the SB Dunk High Unicorn Gundams. You know what a Gundam is? It's like a robot, and it's in an anime. The other shoe that I want is the Strawberry Coughs. It looks like a strawberry, and then there's like a green, like, you think I'm crazy, right? I'm shoe crazy? Huh? Yeah? Okay. All right, Amelia,
I mean, he's great with his content. I think he's got kind of a unique little deal. I love that stuff, though. It was his second or third because he had to learn because that's one thing that TikTok won't do. They will allegedly ban you, and it's not like a kick ban where it's like you're deplatformed in essential. And they don't give you. He had to do a lot of research to find out what the time frame was to show a blade because there's certain things that the filters catch and there's certain things the filters don't. But yes, he has gone through it several times. But since he's doing a lot of short form content, he can cross post a lot of that to Instagram, YouTube Shorts, TikTok. So if you think about it in the way that Ray is building his career, his reach is increased, right? So even if he gets flagged on TikTok, I've seen people who are banned on TikTok who have burner accounts that they're still able to accept donations on. So TikTok, you can have like a ton of different accounts and they don't ever tie them together. It's a weird place. His little girl is so sweet. What's her name? Rosie? Thank God she got Kelly's looks. Well, guys, we've been going for 2.5 hours. It's almost midnight. I'm going to get some food, get ready to pace around and probably record videos since I don't sleep at night. But I love each and every one of you. I appreciate y'all coming out and hanging with me. I hope y'all have a great rest of the week. Stay dry. It's stormy here, but I love each and every one of you. All I ask is please, please, please look out for the guy or gal on your left. Look out for the guy or gal on your right. Look out for each other. Go forward with love in your heart. Choose debate, not hate. I love you all.
In the event that there is a loss of cabin pressure, oxygen masks will drop from the overhead.